In this video, we'll be learning about the two types of motion.
The first one is uniform motion. The second type is non-uniform motion. Under this, the first topic is uniform motion. What is uniform motion? If the object travels with a constant velocity, it is referred to as a uniform motion. For an example, let's say there is an object. It travels with 3 meters per second when time is equal to 0, and then after 10 seconds it still travels with a velocity of 3 meters per second. Since the initial velocity and the final velocity is the same, the change in velocity, or the delta v, is 0. According to the equation, acceleration is the change in velocity per unit time. As the change in velocity is 0, the acceleration will be 0. Therefore, in order to travel with a constant velocity, the acceleration should be 0. For these types of motions, we can use the equation s equals ut. This is a common equation where s is the displacement, u is the velocity, and t is the time taken. To understand this concept very clearly, let's move on to a problem. Now in this problem, there are two objects A and B. They move in the same direction with the constant velocity of 3 meters per second and 1 meters per second respectively. If their initial gap is 20 meters, find the time taken for the objects to collide. Now let's apply s equals ut to A. A is the green object and it should travel 20 meters, which is the initial gap, and also x meters in order to collide with B. So the displacement is 20 plus x and the velocity is 3 meters per second, and the time taken, let's say it is t. Then we have the equation 20 plus x is equal to 3t. That is the first equation. Next we apply s equals ut to B, and then the distance or the displacement traveled by B during this time is x meters. The velocity is 1 meters per second and the time taken is t. Therefore we have the next equation, x equals t. That is the second equation. Then after solving these two, let's substitute the value. Substituting 2 in 1. 20 plus t is equal to 3t. Then we have 20 equals 2t. Then t is equal to 10 seconds. Therefore the time taken for the objects to collide is 10 seconds. Question: we have two cities A and B, and there are two vehicles, car and a bicycle. The car travels with the velocity of 20 meters per second and the bicycle travels with the velocity of 5 meters per second. Let's say the gap or the distance between A and B is x meters, and they have given that the car reaches town B 7 meters and 30 seconds before the bicycle. So let's say the time taken by the bicycle is t. So the car takes t minus 7 minutes plus 30 seconds to reach city B. Now if we convert 7 minutes to seconds, that will be 420 seconds. Therefore the total time taken by the car will be t minus 450 seconds. Therefore, let's apply S equals ut to the bicycle. Then the distance or the displacement is x and the velocity is 5 meters per second and the time taken will be t. That's the first equation. And then in the next equation we apply S equals ut to the car. The distance remains the same. The velocity of the car is 20 and the time taken will be t minus 450 seconds. And then we have the second equation. We can solve this by equating the first equation to the second equation. Then we have 5t is equal to 20t minus 20 into 450. Then by solving this we have 20 into 450 is equal to 15t. Then by subjecting t we get the answer. T is equal to 600 seconds. Then in order to find the distance between A and B, we substitute t equals 600 to the first equation, that is x is equal to 5 into 600. Then we have 3000 meters or 3 kilometers. Therefore, the distance between A and B is equal to 3 kilometers.